Alright, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hey, today we're talking about how to secure your game cameras to the tree. If you're anything like us, we hunt a lot of public land, obviously. It's in our name. And for us, keeping our hard-earned money where we left it last time in the woods is crucial to not only our scouting tactics, but you know, we pay a lot of money for this stuff, so we're trying to keep it there, and unfortunately stuff gets stolen in the woods. So came up with a method. I kind of looked on YouTube. Luckily for me, there's a couple guys out there that have done this stuff before and built their own game camera locks. Obviously you can go out and buy your own game camera locks. Now I'm not saying that system doesn't work, but we already spend so much hard-earned money on the game cameras themselves, the SD cards, the viewfinders, all that stuff. If I can find a way to save myself a little bit of money and keep Jake and I's property secure in the woods, that's what I'm going to do. So today we're going to show you guys how we plan on keeping our stuff on the tree this year, and kind of go step by step so it's not to confuse anybody, and hopefully you enjoy the video. Stay tuned. Alright, so first things to get you started, we're going to start with, I went and bought 50 foot of plastic coated cable. It's really just a clothesline, but it's a nice plastic coat, keeps it from getting weathered, and it's got a cable that runs through the center. So 50 foot of that. Then I went out and bought some cable ferrules. They look like this. These are the smaller end ones. You can tell on my finished product over here. These big ones are the ones that I prefer. They're a lot easier to work with. You can run the plastic coat up through the ferrules no problem. And it just makes your life a lot easier. So depending on what you can get your hands on, the bigger the better, in my opinion. But you'll see, like on this one here, this is kind of halfway done. I'm gonna go put this one on a camera that I already have out. This is one of those smaller, it's a 3 by 32nd cable ferrule. It flattens out real nice, it comes out good, but the problem you run into is you're going to end up having to strip this plastic coating in order to run that cable back through the ferrule. So just keep that in mind when you're purchasing your material to do this. So essentially what you need to do are your tools, right? So just your regular old hammer, and I got a pair of needle nose with some wire strippers on the inside. They work pretty good. They're not ideal wire strippers, but they get the job done. So if you can come up with something like that, it's going to benefit you. So getting right into it, basically what we're going to do is we're going to take one end of this cable here. I cut off a good chunk because we're going to plan on putting this one on a big tree. Take your wire cutters, you put it on the end here, and you're just going to start rotating this around, right? And you're going to rotate it so that you're not going to internally damage the cable on the inside. You're just going to go back and forth around in circles until you get it to where you can just pop that right off, okay? Sorry for the sound effect. But it's really important that you don't damage the inner cable, because the whole point of this is to run it around, and if you make a bend in a damaged spot, it's just going to break that cable off. So be cognizant of that when you're rotating your wire cutters around. We're going to come down here to the other end. We're going to do the same exact thing. Pull those off, and then we got two ends that look like this, okay? Pretty simple, pretty cut and dry, but very important that we don't damage the inner cable. You're going to take your ferrule, you're going to run it up one side, and I like to go all the way to the bottom to that plastic coating, because this loop is sometimes tough to navigate to get it back in there. So as much space as you can give yourself, and you got to play with the bend a little bit to get it to fit back in through that end of the ferrule. And then sometimes take the pliers, bend it down. Then you're going to get something that looks like that. I got a little bit of slack back through the end of the ferrule. I'm actually going to step out into the garage real quick and I'm going to flatten that out. But make sure when you do it, like this table, it's not going to hold up when I'm smashing this down. So get yourself on a good hard flat surface, something like concrete or stone or something like that, where you're not going to damage anything in your house. But I'm going to step out, flatten this out, and then show you the end product when I come back. So went and flattened that ferrule out, and we've made ourselves a loop. That's what it's going to look like on one end. Now this is the important part of the video, and it's pretty self-explanatory, but just so you guys know, as soon as these locks go on the back of your camera, they're not coming off. Like you can see on this finished product, let me set this down. On this finished product, these ferrules are so big that when you run them through the lock loop, they're not going to come back through the other side. It's a square peg in a round hole type deal. It's just not going to happen. So when you have made one end of your loop, excuse me, you're going to take your camera, like Jake's laptop here, for instance, is what I call it. We're going to run the non-loop end through whatever we're trying to secure it to the tree with. So Lord have mercy. All right. We're gonna run this bad rascal down through here. Jeez, crow, man.
This is what happens when you don't want to give up on a 12-year-old game crammer.
Yeah, so we run her down through.
If it works, so don't fix it.
Right? So on these ones, it's just these simple loops. It makes it a lot easier to work with. But hey, game cameras are game cameras, so work with what you got. All of our newer cameras already have been went and through this process, so we're working with this bad rascal, but you'll get the gist anyway. So what we'll do now, we'll take our other cable ferrule, we'll repeat the process, run it down through one end, all the way to the cable, do a loop. See if I can do it with my left hand. Go out to the garage, we'll flatten this thing out, and then we'll come back and wrap this thing up. Alright, so we're back. Smash this cable ferrule down. Leave a little bit of slack, that always helps if you can. But these aren't pulling back through. Like they're not gonna go anywhere. And really all that's left to do is get this bad boy on a tree, put a lock on it, and secure it. Now, here's the thing, right? So, I'm not saying that this is a foolproof way of keeping your stuff in the woods. But it's a lot better than just leaving with a strap, right? So, all we're trying to do is keep the honest people honest. We're trying to deter people from stealing stuff. Unless you run into a prepared thief, your stuff should still be there at the end of the day. You know, obviously we cut this stuff with wire cutters. That's how it's going to work. So unless somebody's walking around, this is some pretty thick gauge stuff. So unless somebody's walking around with some serious cutters, wire cutters, why they'd be walking around the woods with that, I have no idea. But if they are, that's pretty much going to deter them from stealing your stuff. So hopefully we'll go stick this out on the tree so you guys can see how it works. We made this one a little bit big for all intents and purposes, but we'll show you how it works anyway, and then we'll wrap up the video. And yeah, so stay tuned.
All right, guys. We hope y'all enjoyed the video. It's a little bit different than what we usually shoot, so we hope y'all at least got something out of this. And like I said, it's just something different for us. We didn't invent this. He found it on YouTube. We found it to be a good idea. So, yeah, I mean, he posted something on our IG page. He made a little IGTV thing out of him doing it before. We got good feedback from it, so we figured, hey, why not make a YouTube video about it? So that's what we're doing, and like I said, it's something to keep honest people honest. You know what I mean? So we're not saying that this is going to prevent anybody from actually stealing your stuff, because if somebody's determined enough, they'll take anything. But
yeah, hey, and if you steal game cameras, man, stop doing that stuff.
yeah, it's not cool, bro.
People pay a lot of money for this stuff, you know. We're not sponsored. We don't get stuff for free, man. We got to pay for all of our stuff, and it adds up, bro. So if you steal a game camera, stop doing that crap, man.
Yeah, don't do that. Enjoy the outdoors, have fun, enjoy the rest of your summer, because at time getting in your reps with your bow or with your rifle, whatever it is. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one.
Hey, check us out on Instagram, Chasing Public 1. Got some rackers. Check them out.
Boom.